Hey, what's up, brand builders? Today, I wanted to talk about your market, right? So if you're a brand or a business, we are looking at who the real market is. Do you know who your real market is? Or do you know who your real competition is? So when I say market, it's of course the target audience, but also at the same time, it is the competitive kind of landscape. Now, most of us go through business, run our businesses, run our brands, thinking that we do know who our market is, what our market is and who our competition is. But in reality, we're probably only looking at it from one angle, okay? For example, let's say you are a restaurant, right? So you're a restaurant and you're getting some local traffic, you're getting local patronage, of course, customers, target audience, consumer base, whatever you want to call it. And you might think that that is your audience, right? People who want to eat food at your place. And your competition is the other restaurants in that area, or maybe even in your town, because somebody might decide to go for Italian, and if you're an Italian restaurant, they might come to you, or they might go to an Italian restaurant across the town. But let's just suppose, to simplify it, just to keep it for the sake of this discussion, for the sake of this video, let's say that it's very local, right? Within the vicinity, let's say you're kind of, 5 to 10 mile radius. You would think that, number one, your target audience is people who want to eat Italian food. And your competition is the other restaurants in the area. If there are other Italian restaurants, then of course they're the primary competitors. Then you have secondary competitors who are other restaurants, other cuisines. There's a Thai, Chinese, whatever. But in reality, there's so many different layers of competition. In fact, if you look at what your customer is, the journey of your customer. So yes, they come to your restaurant if they're hungry, they want to eat some food. But at the same time, there's also this facet where people come to restaurants because it is a form of entertainment. They want to celebrate something, they go to a restaurant, right? It's somebody's birthday, they might decide to go to a restaurant to celebrate. They're bored at home, they might decide to go to a restaurant. Or they having a busy life, right? Both parents are working, it's a family, let's say, they got kids, and they got no time to cook dinner. They might do either a takeaway, or they might use, ready meals, pop them in the oven, or they might come to your restaurant. You see, it's slowly expanding now. So suddenly you have ready meals and takeaways as your competition. But then, what about if they're bored and instead of deciding to go to a restaurant, what if they decide to go to the local mall, or they decide to go to a movie, right? They become your competitors again. Or they might just decide to do window shopping. Then the concept of window shopping, the high street, that becomes your competition or indirect competition. So these are the tertiary kind of competitors. So when you're sitting down and thinking, don't always obsess over your direct competitors, because when you're looking only at your direct competitors, then you're missing out on opportunities to leverage. So you're sort of trying to compete directly with other restaurants, or if you're a clothing store, whatever, right? Then what happens is you would then say, okay, how do I attract the customers away from those competitors towards my restaurants or my business? Then you would end up possibly looking at pricing and trying to come up with pricing related strategies to try and draw that audience. Of course, that's what leads to pricing wars, which means it's a race to the bottom. But if you look at it from other perspectives and say, hang on, it's not just these restaurants that are my competitors, but it could be the local cinema, right? The local movie theater. Or it could be, the museum. for people who are bored. Or it could be takeaways. It could be ready meals. It could be, I don't know, local bars. I mean, if you start looking at it from that perspective, then you start to recognize that you're not really competing. You're not really competing for the exact service or product that you're providing, but rather you're looking at the intentions of your customers. Always look at your buyer's journey. Look at the journey the buyer takes to get to your service or product. So they start with a problem, or maybe not. They might start with a problem that is directly related to what you're selling, right? Or they might start with a problem that is really not directly related to your problem. In this case, a restaurant, they're probably not, when they start out on that evening deciding to go to a restaurant, they're probably not hungry. Okay, so, or they're probably not looking for Italian food. They're probably bored, or they're probably so busy they just got back from work or on the way home. So if you understand that your competitors are not just the direct competitors, but also indirect competitors, and your target audience motives and intentions are not the ones that you think are directly related to what you're selling, then you expand the scope of your kind of promotional and business activity, right? So this actually was prompted by a question that came up over the weekend. Eric wrote asking about competition. It's quite a lengthy email. That's why I didn't start reading that email. It was quite lengthy, and the core question was that, you know, I'm competing, and what do I do? How do I compete with my competitors? You know, do I compete on price? I know that my quality is better, but they also say that their quality is better. So where do I compete? So that prompted me to say, you know what? Forget about that. You know, don't think about competing against your direct competitors. Take a step back and look at it from a bird's eye view. You know, take a 30,000 foot kind of view from the top, and when you do that, your scope expands and it gives you an opportunity to think outside the box. And suddenly, maybe you can position or pivot your business, your offering, your kind of service or your product in a very kind of a unique way, a different way. And you don't even compete. So this is the fundamental idea of the blue ocean and the red ocean. Because a red ocean is where there's blood in the water, right? I give this example every time because it's so relevant. It's so correct, in my opinion, right? A red ocean is, you know, there's sharks everywhere and everybody's fighting for the same fish, and there's blood in the water, and it's very difficult to sort of get your feed, right? You should always strive to go away from the red ocean to a blue ocean. A blue ocean is one that you create. And you create it by taking a look at your competition and taking a look at your buyers, your target audience, your customers, and saying, where else can I inject my brand into their worldview, into their lives, into their journey, so that instead of competing in the red ocean, I create a blue ocean. All right? I know I'm going around in circles, but I just wanted to emphasize it. It is a really critical kind of concept, and I'm going to make many more videos on this, right? Okay, I'm not going to give up on this. It's not just one video because it is such an important topic, and it is something that is at the base of the kind of tree, and it'll help you solve many problems that you think are problems at the top, but they actually boil down. It's at the core of a lot of problems and challenges in business, in branding, in marketing, in promotion, and all that. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video. Till the next one. Take care.